Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for your willingness to participate in our talk. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, Ed, tell us who you are and what type of clients are you working with?
Okay. I am a CPA. I am managing partner of my firm. My firm is the 30th to 33rd largest in the Delaware Valley. I created this 15 years ago, and we have grown exponentially since that time period. And so we are a generalist firm. We have multiple offices. We file in 40 states. We file internationally. I never expected that when I first created it, but that's what has happened.
I'm so glad you are my CPA. Have your clients start asking you about second passports or the idea of having options
I've
outside
had
of the US?
I've had several clients that have, when they question that, then that would be something I would ask to you to be able to have the discussion. I mean, we are a generalist firm. We have no one real specialty. Our clients range in size and complexity from very simple returns to very complex, and the income and the associated expenses reflect that. And when they have that question, well, what about obtaining a second passport? How does that process work? Then that's something I would pass along.
Thank you so much. But do you hear it more and more?
Recently, no. All I hear are complaints about what's going on in this country. I do hear concerns. Well, if Donald Trump does A, B, or C, which is either he's pushing for the point or those in power in Washington are pushing the point, then what can I do as an alternative to maintain the freedoms that we are used to in this country and still have the ability to pay our taxes and to have Congress do what they're supposed to do under the Constitution? And that is the single biggest issue today, and that lends itself to the opportunities from what you are trying to teach them how to go ahead and deal with this.
That's wrong. Well, we don't have to depend on a certain government. So that's the philosophy that my firm pursues, just to be free, free of any country and free of any government. And as numbers person, what was your reaction when you first heard about these options of second passport?
I think the concept is good. I think a lot of the cost that other countries are pushing, that if somebody wants that passport, I think at times is high. And I think they would be better off to lower their costs, lower, not lower the standards, but lower the cost to obtain that. And the countries can still make money on that, and nothing wrong with that. But it would open it up to a lot more from a client base than what they currently can afford to do. Most people cannot afford to put down the type of dollars that countries are looking for.
That's right. But many of the programs just doubled their prices because of the demand. They used to be much less expensive. What is the biggest misconceptions Americans have when they start thinking about the second passport or second residency?
They really don't understand what it means, what it entails. They don't fully understand the process, what they would have to go through to ultimately obtain that passport and be able to have the ability to then still maintain U.S. citizenship, but move to another country.
That's right. And everyone thinks that, once they get a second passport or residency, they are free of American tax. But this is not right. And this is the biggest misconception, by the way, that I hear.
There are two countries in the world that tax the way we tax. We're one of them. There's another country. It doesn't matter who it is. What's more important is people forget we truly do not live in a democracy here. We live in a republic. So there are federal taxation, there is state taxation, And they have to realize that one of the requirements is, as a U.S. citizen, unless they give up their U.S. citizenship, they still have to pay taxes regardless of where they're living or working.
That's right. Actually, I know that people who are working for international organizations like United Nations or Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe, they are tax exempt, even if they are American citizens, but they work for international organizations, they don't pay tax from their income.
The UN has had that since almost inception, so that if U.S. citizens are working for the UN, depending upon the job they're doing and where they're located.
Let's talk about what you do best. What are the biggest legal tax savings opportunities most Americans are simply leaving on the table?
If they have just a W-2 and they have interest, they have dividends beyond that, they don't fully understand what that means and what they can do to minimize taxes. It's somewhat limited. We're talking whether they're going to set up a deferred payment plan, and ultimately it will be taxed. It's just when it will be taxed. If they have the opportunity to have a second business, either as an S Corp or as a Schedule C, there are other opportunities they can take advantage of. And again, too many clients don't fully understand what that means and how they can affect tax savings.
That's why they come to you. And for a business owner or high-income professional, what does a well-structured U.S. tax plan looks like?
We have to work in concert with their financial advisors. We are not a financial advisory firm, so we don't provide directly any of that. But we do work closely with financial advisors. We do understand much of it. Are they trying to affect a second business by acquiring other real estate, which is a good opportunity? You just have to understand what the rules really mean. You can have a second business and it's almost poof, it exists. It's relatively simple. If it's real estate, it's a different story. You're supposed to have 6 units that you are renting out. And you notice I said the word units. I didn't necessarily say buildings, because you can have one building that has 8 units, and that will qualify and let you qualify as a real estate professional, which opens the avenue for a lot of tax savings. And it's just the way the tax code is written. The tax code has always been a mechanism in this country for the longest time to help the economy. We live in a litigious society, too many lawyers, and people will sue at the drop of a hat. So you want to separate your pieces so that if there is a fall, if there is an issue, if there's a fire or something that happens with it, it doesn't drag your other assets into a lawsuit. You come to me and you say, I want to do this, I want to be able to reduce my tax rate that I'm paying. And I will say, great, I require that you come up with the idea, not me. And you come up with the type of business it will be. And I will work with you on that. I can't keep coming up with okay, I want you to go open a cleaning service. I want you to go open a detailing service for cars. This is up to you, not me. But once you come up with an idea, I can say, now you need to consider A, B, C, D, and then we can get it set up.
So would you advise to open S Corps, not the LLCs?
No, initially I would tell you probably to open an LLC. It's lower cost. It gives you certain tax savings immediately. The IRS does understand if you open a new business, it may take 6 months to 2 years for you to test your marketing concept and evaluate. Meanwhile, you are obtaining tax deductions during that time period. If you can make a go of it, then we start looking at what your gross revenue is, and should you be an S Corp? Should you just maintain yourself as a Schedule C, a disregarded entity, as it's called? But until we get to that point, we don't know.
I see. Thank you so much for this precious advice. What about the illegal aliens, international business owners who are abroad? I know they can open an LLC in Delaware or Wyoming and have a company here, even if they are not US residents or US citizens.
They are allowed to, but there's still certain limitations. They have to have, they would normally get an ITIN, which is similar in concept to a Social Security number. But preferably to open up an entity, the IRS really wants to see Social Security numbers. So it does limit what they can do, but they are allowed to do it. There are a lot of people from very specific countries that will look to open up a business while still maintaining their residency in the other country.
Would it be beneficial for them to have a partner who is an American citizen and open this company together?
Absolutely.
Would it be beneficial for them to have a partner who is an American citizen and open this company together?
Absolutely.
And what is the minimum percentage that the partner has to own in this company?
Minimal. I mean, it can be 1%. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It just, what is the percentage that they're going to have? And in the operating agreement, which would have to be created, what will the domestic partner be responsible for? What will the international partner be responsible for? So you're looking at all this.
And once you open this type of company with the US citizen and the US citizen, let's say, own 1% of the company, what if the owner from abroad decide to, let the US citizen go and continue?
Well, that's why
consequences?
that's why you set up an operating agreement. And that's where you need the advice of a business attorney who can help guide you through that. We understand it. Much of it we can do, but we are not attorneys. So that's where I can recommend other people who are business attorneys who can give that advice and guidance.
So it's a teamwork. If I have a client who is a business owner abroad, would you be willing to consult the client on this type of setup?
We do that now.
Okay, that's
So
good to know. If you could give every American one piece of financial advice, regardless of whether they think about the second passport or not, what would it be?
you need to look at your tax structure. You need to look at why you're paying the taxes that you are. Who is helping, if I'm that individual, who is helping me to get my taxes done? And why am I using that? Too many firms do not have the skill sets to be able to do this. And it does take time to develop. I've been doing this for a lot of years, so I do understand that viewpoint. But we have a lot of clients that come to us that have been doing their taxes on their own, and often they're leaving money on the table, overpaying. IRS is not going to tell you that you've overpaid because you never took advantage of parts of the tax code that you were entitled to take advantage. They don't do that.
Wow, you are so important in people's life. Ed, for anyone listening who wants to get their tax situation properly in order, how can they find you?
We have a website, and much of our marketing is word of mouth, or people find us because they're looking for a firm that has this skill set, this knowledge base. And our website is designed so that if you, with the right keywords, we will pop up.
I very much appreciate that you are open for also for international clients, because many CPAs here in the US, they usually escape this type of connections. I appreciate that you are open for international clients, and that you can also advise clients who would like to move abroad or get a second passport. And